All right, let's talk about one of the most ambitious industrial automation projects on the entire planet. It's called the Autoflow Road, and it's Japan's plan for a 310-mile automated highway. Now, this isn't some cool vision born from a desire to be futuristic. No, this is a radical idea born out of a genuine national crisis.
So let's just start with the central question, the one that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Can one single massive automated system really do the work of 25,000 trucks and all their drivers every single day? I mean, just think about that number for a second. For Japan, this isn't science fiction. It's a critical, urgent necessity. The country is essentially betting its economic future that the answer to that question is a huge yes. So you have to ask, what kind of problem could possibly demand such an incredible and incredibly expensive solution? Well, it all boils down to a perfect storm that's hitting Japan's supply chain. We're talking about a logistics crisis that is so severe it actually threatens to grind their entire economy to a halt. And this is really the heart of the issue. By the year 2030, which is right around the corner, Japan is projected to have a 36% shortage of truck drivers. The country's population is aging fast, and there just aren't enough younger drivers to replace all the ones who are retiring. It's creating this massive labor vacuum. And here's where it gets really serious. While the workforce of drivers is shrinking, the amount of cargo that needs to be moved isn't going down. It's staying steady at a staggering 1.4 billion tons a year. So you've got this huge, unmoving demand on one side and a collapsing workforce on the other. That gap is completely unsustainable. So how do you solve a problem that seems, well, unsolvable? You don't just tweak the system. You have to change the rules of the game entirely. And that brings us to the solution. This incredible 310-mile automated artery. At its core, the Autoflow Road is basically a dedicated superhighway just for cargo. It's a 500-kilometer system built for one purpose and one purpose only, to connect Japan's two biggest economic hubs, Tokyo and Osaka, and just move goods between them nonstop, without a single human driver. So how would they actually build this thing? Well, there are two main ideas being thrown around. On one hand, you could have a gigantic conveyor belt system, probably running through underground tunnels. On the other hand, you could have fleets of autonomous electric carts zipping along in their own dedicated lanes. The tech is different, but the goal is exactly the same: constant automated movement of goods. And the process itself is designed to be beautifully simple. Here's how it works. At one end, workers load a standard 1-ton pallet into the system. Whoosh, it's off. The automated artery does all the heavy lifting, transporting it 24/7 non-stop. Then, at the other end, it arrives at a receiving center, where a normal truck takes over for just that final short-distance, last-mile delivery. But this is about so much more than just plugging a labor gap. A project on this scale, it unlocks a whole wave of new opportunities that come with this level of industrial automation. And the benefits are just huge. I mean, first, we're talking about a zero-emissions transport system. That's a massive win for the environment. It also promises to lower shipping costs and make the roads drastically safer. And here's the cool part. While it solves that labor shortage, it also creates a whole new category of high-tech jobs in robotics, AI-driven logistics, and systems maintenance. If you zoom out and look at the big picture, the impact is really threefold. Economically, it gives Japanese industry a massive competitive edge. Environmentally, it's a huge step toward Japan's climate goals by slashing all that diesel consumption. And for society, well, safer roads for everyone is a pretty great outcome. Okay, of course, a revolution of this size doesn't come easy, and it definitely doesn't come cheap. There are some very, very real hurdles to overcome here. And yup, here is the biggest one. The estimated price tag is a staggering $25 billion. A project of this scale is going to require a massive commitment, most likely from a combination of public and private investment. This table really lays out the trade-offs perfectly. The short-term pains are pretty significant. That huge price tag, and of course the carbon footprint that comes from using tons of concrete and steel to build it. But the long-term gains are transformative. Lower costs, zero operational emissions, and a huge boost to the whole economy's efficiency. It's a classic case of short-term pain for long-term revolution. Now, while Japan's project is unique in its sheer scale, they aren't the only ones thinking this way. This is actually part of a global race to automate logistics. For instance, if you look at China, they're already developing their own underground logistics systems in huge cities like Beijing and Shanghai. using automated vehicles and tunnels to get trucks off their incredibly crowded streets. Then, over in Europe, you've got Switzerland's Cargo Sud Terrain project. It's also planned to be about 310 miles long, but their focus is a bit different. They want to create more of a web that connects multiple major cities all across the country. And the Netherlands is exploring these ideas too. They're looking at large underground tunnels to solve logistics problems within and between their very densely populated cities. But what really makes Japan's project so distinct is its laser focus. Instead of building a distributed network, they are creating one single, incredibly high-capacity artery to serve the single most critical economic corridor in the entire country. The publication Highways Industry summed it up perfectly. They called it a significant leap towards sustainable logistics. And that's the key, right? This isn't just a small improvement, it's a fundamental change in how we even think about moving goods. And this is the real takeaway. If Japan pulls this off, the Autoflow Road won't just solve their crisis. It's going to become a blueprint for other developed nations that are struggling with the exact same problems: aging workforces, congested highways, and urgent climate goals. Which, of course, leaves us with a final fascinating question to think about. Are we looking at the future here? Could these automated underground superhighways one day become the new arteries, not just for a single country, but for global trade itself? It's a wild idea, and only time will tell.